And with that, we
It's
are
real, it's real, it's real, real, real. I've been waiting to sing that song for months. Thank you. Okay, tell the people that are watching what we just saw.
well, The Act of Aging, Volume 1, was just published, released on Amazon this weekend on Saturday. And today, this Wednesday, the 2nd of March, is the day for us to request everyone that is a supporter of the Aging Better Network, of Christine Smith and Pre-Act Your Age, to go to Amazon and buy the book. Now, the easy way to do that is you can look for it on Amazon, or you can go to agingbetternetwork.com, and right at the top, there's a click. It'll take you to Amazon. You can buy the book. We want to push this up to number 1, and today is the day to do that. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, yes, yes. And of course, I'm getting ready this morning. My husband has already been live online and interviewing guests and being with friends. And he comes down the hall and he's just as excited as I am, like trying to whisper because, our son is home today. He doesn't have to get up to go to work. And so, so we're both just woo. And I just kept going, wait a minute. I've been thinking this for months. When is it going to be real? So now it is, because I have never published anything before. Well, except a newsletter at work. But this is a lot more. So you were saying today is the day to go in and grab it,
Mhm.
to be part of a surge of wonderful people who are thinking, I would like to look into this concept that she's been working on for so long. Well,
Mhm.
why has it taken me this long? There's a couple of reasons. Uh, I've never been an author before. So, it's easy to think, well, I'm not an author.
Mhm.
And that can be changed. Thank you very much. D. Scott Smith, motivational listener. He has absolutely put in his sweat equity on this. More than that. So I didn't know I could be an author until someone reminded me that the only people who aren't authors are the ones who haven't published yet. Or you've authored something.
Mhm.
If you've written something, you are the author of that poem or that newsletter, what have you. But if it's published, it's made public. And that
Mhm.
was the whole idea. I've written this because of my background as a caregiver. And when I was caregiving, it wasn't just in one home with me as a loved one. I was in many, many, many
Mhm.
individual private homes. And in almost every single home, there was at least one, if not half a dozen, loved ones that I served with, shoulder to shoulder. And, we became able to just share our thoughts with each other. And I really appreciated that these people who are home caregivers for their loved ones, they had two schools of thought. And one was, this has been so hard. Who am I going to find to do this for me? Because I want this. I want to love and take care. Who am I going to find to do this for me? So what I fell upon was their feelings
Mm.
and how aging affects relationships differently than when you're parenting, when you are peers, when you are colleagues, how it shifts. And so it affects relationships differently. The caregiving or just it, I shouldn't keep saying caregiving because it can be just being partners walking into later years together. You know, but there are issues. There are issues, and I call them aspects of aging because
Yeah.
it isn't
Let me
it isn't all challenges.
let me just read a little bit of this for people, and
Good
this
idea.
is on the Amazon page. And so if you go there and you look at the description, it says nobody prepares you for how you're going to feel in the third of your life. There's plenty of help for financial retirement and estate planning. What we need are instructions for the pre-planning of healthy emotions and relationships. And I just love that as you're talking about the book. And I want to remind people they can go to Amazon. If you don't have to copy down that whole link, go to agingbetternetwork.com right at the top. Click on it, it'll take you to Amazon, and then you can buy the book. 99 cents. Let's push it up to number one.
My husband knows that I'm an analog woman in a digital world. So when you go to agingbetternetwork.com, boom, it's there right at the top. No fishing around, no looking for menus. It's just
Mhm.
right there. It's like, whew, I got it. I don't have to dive into someone else's world. I can just, boom, go right to it. And I wrote this book to answer the question, why? So this is the thought literally came to me this morning as we were so excited about this first ever book that I am now a published author. And it's not the only one. You'll notice in the top left corner, it says volume 1. That's because the other volumes are already written. I just haven't edited them yet. So volume 1. So this is the thought that came to me. We live in the state of Oregon. We have quite the range of mountains, a range of hills going toward the coast, the Pacific Ocean. And there are vistas that have been set up just so you can pull in and park, step forward, see this huge display. And if you stand in the right spot, you can look at that mountain and then look at the display and find out what's the name of that mountain, a little more about it. Look at this mountain, that hill, this crag. And you can see all of these mountains. You can learn a little bit more about them. You can decide, we've got time. Maybe we should drive to one of those and just, see it. Or we should make a hiking trip, go camping there and really explore that area. However, in aging, you don't go to the mountains. The
Mhm.
mountains come to you. So why not come to the vista of knowing your aging aspects ahead of time and be able to say, oh, now I know more about that mountain before it comes to me. It's kind of a safer, more comfortable way. And that is my premise, is pre-acting your age, pre-planning for your emotional and relational future.
And I love that you give that metaphor with looking at the mountain and then being able to look at the description. And that's really what you've done with the website. We can say
Yes.
it's filled with information.
There are lists, which doesn't sound all that exciting, but you get to choose from 3 different lists. So one of the lists is words that you're going to need to know, but you just don't know right now that you're
Mhm.
gonna need to know them. Maybe you've never heard of it, or you've heard it in conversation, but what's an elder law attorney? And what is that about? How is that different than an attorney? So you get an opportunity to see what that's about. So that is the fingertip file, the glossary. And that is also available at the agingbetternetwork.com website. Then there is a list that is links to websites of organizations, of people, of programs, of helps, of all sorts. You cannot believe how much is there. It's taken me years as a caregiver in so many different homes to realize there's help for that. You don't have to invent how to take care of an aspect of aging, an issue that's general and very common in later years. You don't have to reinvent that. And then we just added this in the last few days, the live events. These are live, standalone, one time, you usually have to register for them, events that are supporting you and informing you and entertaining you and making you go, I never thought about that before. Or I know someone who really needs to know about this. Oh, they've got a recording that I can send them to see what I've just seen.
So everyone should make sure go to agingbetternetwork.com. You go ahead and bookmark it. It is updated. So those lists of live events, those lists of terms are available there. They'll be updated. They'll be added to. And one of the things that I found is that everyone who goes into this, whether it's their own aspects of aging or caring for another person, it feels as if they're the first ones to ever have done this, because there's not a lot of information. But you've put it out there, and you put it out there in the book. I'm going to just put the cover up there. Volume 1, The Act of Aging, Pre-Planning for Your Emotional and Relational Future. It is available on Amazon. Go to agingbetternetwork.com. Right at the top, click on it, take you to Amazon. You can buy it. It's 99 cents. If we buy it today on Wednesday, and I bought a copy, make sure that you do that and share it with friends, because we want to push this up to number 1, because this is important information, as Christine is talking about, aspects of aging. And I think you have an aspect of aging ready for us.
Yes. We talked about this before we went live, and you picked 47.
Mm-hmm.
And I peeked at it ahead of time, and I saw that aspect of aging, number 47. And before I say it, I want to make sure that I know how hard you have worked, husband, as my producer, as the person that helped me to publish. So you've been in a respect, my editor and my push, my producer, my publishing agent. I want to thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. You've worked hard. You've put this information together. And I also want to add in there that when you get the book, there's links to, there's a sample of the journaling. There's journaling samples in there. And these are all about aspects of aging, which you're going to give us an example of in a moment. But there's also videos that support them. So there's 3 samples in there. And so I encourage people, when you get the book, also take advantage of the free training and journaling samples. Yes. So let's talk about this number 47 aspect of
Absolutely.
aging.
So number 47 just happened to be, as I was writing them, temporary medical conditions could be permanent. Once you hear that you have something that needs to be taken care of, a pain, a condition, something that is keeping you from the active life or participating with, full function, and you hear about that at maybe age, we'll say 49, maybe you think, what is it going to take to get me past this? What are my options? Etc. But there will be one more aspect, as you are not 49, you are 89. And that aspect, that typical thought starts to come in going, what if this is permanent? What if I am just going to live this way from now on? Because perhaps the way to solve this situation is going to be too hard on me. It might keep me from my grandkids' graduations because of my weakened condition. What if I am just going to continue on with what would, at age 49, have been a temporary medical condition.
Mm.
So when a person goes through this in the journaling aspect, and by the way, this journaling is not your mama's teenage diary. Dear
Right.
diary, oh my goodness, it's
Mhm.
everything's drama. This is very specified. There are prompts to go through in the order that you choose.
Mm. Mhm.
And you start with defining what that might mean in your life. Now, that's a daunting task. So, of course, I give you the answer key because I believe that everyone deserves to be informed. So, I give you an answer key. I give you selections of it could be one of these 5 or 6 different ideas that it might mean in my life. That gets your wheels turning, and you write down one of those, 2 of those, or even one of your own. Then you go
Mhm.
through the next several prompts, and that is to realize how this could affect my feelings, how my feelings could affect my relationships. Once you finish that section, here comes the next section, and that is these are my intentional outcomes. If I am feeling that aspect of what if this is permanent? This is just going to be with me from now on. How do I intend to change my perspective from a negative, downward, giving up, regretful that I did in the first section? What would I choose? Just what would be a better response? How could it I saw in the first section how it could affect my relationships and cause those contentions. What would be my favorite outcome there? And then after that comes choose this reward, this bounce back reward. Choose this person or this website, this organization, this professional to practice. So you've chosen a person or a place that you're going to practice dealing with it just for a few minutes. Just practice. Maybe just go to that website, find a solution. Maybe just text that person and say, if I was going through, some aspect of aging that, was kind of dragging me down, what would you say to me? And, that person, well, I'd say, hey, let's go do one of our favorite things and talk about it. Thank you. And then you document that. You're done. Turn the page. You've had an opportunity to go through it. You've seen the mountain. You see how daunting it is to hike it. You know a little more about when you don't hike it because it's covered with snow, bad timing. And so you've known a little bit of that, but you haven't really had to do the hike quite yet. And that way, when something does occur to you or it occurs to somebody close to you, you're not completely caught off guard. Where do these things come from? Why doesn't somebody tell you that these things happen? So that's what I'm doing. I'm telling you that these things happen and giving you a chance to deal with it ahead of time as you go through life and you see different, better ways to deal with things. You see better procedures for taking care of situations. You've got a place to jot it down in your journal.
Yeah, this is important. This is a process guy myself where I like the outcomes, but I want to know what are the steps to get me to that outcome. That's what these journaling samples the people will find in the book. And so I just want to remind people you can buy it on Amazon. The easy way to find it, go to agingbetternetwork.com. And we've got our friend Russ Hedge who says, 1,000 thanks to all you do, Christine. And you're going to be a guest on the experience live with Russ and Scott later this month, and so we'll be able to talk a little bit more about the journey of writing the book and remind people
Thank you, Russ.
there are free journaling samples inside the book. So when you go, It's like a 12-page document that you'll download. You'll be able to print it off. You can fill it in. You can file it, refer back to it. But there's videos that will help walk you through this process. And pay attention. In fact, coming later this year, there's going to be the complete journaling book. And
Yes.
I think there's 52 aspects of aging in there. So
Hmm.
there's one for every week. You don't need to do them in order, and you don't need to do the 3 samples in order. Find
Yeah.
what's going to be important to you,
Mhm.
print off the journaling sample, and watch the videos. And so that's pretty exciting. I'm just proud of you. Congratulations on persevering
Thank you.
and learning the technology that you needed to be able to take this information, because I know that you were there getting it when you were working with clients and with families. All these ideas and all these things that were coming to you were saying, wow, these people did a great job of preparing and planning for the emotions and relationships of aging. And these people should have paid attention to the other folks.
You know, these things happen out of they say left field. If
Hmm.
you are a baseball fan, you understand that. But these things happen out of nowhere. It's not anyone's fault that you're not prepared for it.
Hmm.
But I had all of that in front of me, and I thought, this is not fair that I have so many that I have seen who have this sound of relief in their voice, and their
Hmm.
feelings and their relationships have grown deeper and stronger, and they have navigated the times when the reactions just flare up. It's just too much. And I've seen that, and I'm just going, how did they do that? And I watched and I listened and, had opportunities for short conversations while I happened to be caregiving, and realized that before these things became a big deal, they had a conversation. Somebody said, "We need to talk."
Hmm.
And that's so difficult. I would say our culture is really good at diverting ourselves away from something uncomfortable and leaving it to a future time. I'll take
Hmm.
care of it then. I'll wait until things are really, really tumultuous. That's when I will be motivated, to take care of that. So I'm really grateful to those families. And I don't blame any of them for
Hmm.
reacting, because I react. I react when it's just too much, or it's
Hmm.
it's coming from all directions. And if I say ahead of time, I think probably I'm going to react again more than
Hmm.
once. But my intention is to listen to you and to shake it off, and to sit down when my mind is a little more calm and deal with it.
And that's where you really came up with that phrase, pre-act your age,
Yeah.
so that you're anticipating what kind of things might happen. And we know that, say, of these 52 aspects of aging that you've
Mhm.
documented and you're providing guidance for people to prepare for, they're going to happen to you. Maybe not all 52, but there are things that are going to happen. And just like number 47 today, which was having these temporary medical conditions becoming permanent.
Mm.
And we, I don't know, when we're young, we feel these things, we have these conditions, and then they leave. And then we go back to doing whatever it is we were doing. It could be some sort of physical activity, but maybe things change. And how, just go ahead and prepare for it. I mean, that's really just pre-act your age and don't react.
Right. They call it aging. So it's somehow after retirement, there's just this huge period that could last for decades of aging. Up to that point, you have been preparing, and you have been planning, and you have been, making proactive choices to make sure that you go down this path. Why would you stop now? You're really good at it. You're really good at planning for the future and knowing, as we said at the beginning, knowing that mountain that you're going to hike.
Mhm.
So, before you get there. So you're really good at that. Why not start now? And you know what? I bet you some of those issues have already touched base. There's probably a reason why the title, The Act of Aging, catches your attention. So, for those who like to know, give it to me exactly. The book, The Act of Aging, pre-planning for emotional and relational. Yeah, I made my first
Mhm.
boo-boo.
Yep, yep.
Pre-planning for emotional and relational, your emotional and relational future. That book tells you why you should. The
Mhm.
upcoming book, Pre-Act Your Age, the complete Pre-Act Your Age journal, has samples that are linked into that Kindle book.
Yep. So as we're winding down, because we're gonna
Mhm.
end in just a moment here, I just want to put the copy of the book up here and go to the banner across the bottom is showing you agingbetternetwork.com. You can go ahead and click there and get a copy of the book. If we do it today, and we all do it today, as a community, we will be able to push this book up to number one. And so I will just say thank you, Christine, for writing the
Ah.
book and sharing that. And we're out.